A little bit toe drag swag. Do those two go hand in hand? Gabriel Davis and toe drag swag?
Yeah, no doubt about it. He had a couple of them in the game.
Yeah, at GMFB, lots of guests, lots of fun, lots of headlines, a lot of ins and outs. Right here, we're presented by Truist, live in New York. Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt, and yes, the King of Slime has returned.
I'm back, and I still got some slime at the house if you guys want.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Did you eat any of it? Did you try it?
No, I didn't. And I don't think it tastes like
vanilla pudding.
Yeah, Summer Sanders.
Summer
the
Sanders
said, yeah, the vanilla pudding is delicious. She had different stuff than you.
Yeah.
The hospital eating it.
I'll bring it in. I'll let you guys try it. All right.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'll eat it even if it's not edible.
At GMFB, what do you think slime tastes like? Tweet us. Time for the lead block. Let's go. Yeah, guys, at the divisional round matchups, they are set. It is Rams versus Packers, Ravens versus Bills. Those both on Saturday. The Browns take on the Chiefs. The Buccaneers take on the Saints. On Sunday, no slime. Womp, womp. But great matchups. Let's dig into the Saturday night game. Ravens, Bills, two exceptional quarterbacks in this one. And Josh Allen agrees. Here's what he has to say about Lamar Jackson. This was just yesterday.
They've got one of the best defenses out there. And then on offense, obviously, you got the former MVP in Lamar. And he's as explosive as any player to ever play the game. He's just one of those special guys that obviously they've been having success. He's had a lot of success so far early in his career. And, I root heavily for him, just knowing what he went through his first year and how he's been able to do it and how humble and how awesome he is off the field. He's just one of those guys you root for, and it's hard to not root for him when you're playing against him. But, we're enemies on Saturday.
Okay, so we have to remember, these two guys go way back. Take a look at these young cats walking across the stage when there was a stage to walk across and people crowded together. Love it. They were both drafted in the first round. This was, of course, back in 2018. Josh Allen out of Wyoming went 7th overall. Lamar Jackson from Louisville, selected by the Ravens. That was the last pick of the first round, I do believe. Yes, pick number
isn't it?
32. And now he's got his first playoff win under his belt. Lamar's headed up to Buffalo. And Lamar was asked yesterday about whether the weather he's going to face potentially on Saturday night. Take a listen.
How much experience do you have playing in the snow and never done it?
Zero experience. I never got to play in the snow. Except my first time seeing snow in Louisville, but we had a snowball fight, so that's totally different from playing in it. But yeah, that definitely would be my first time playing football in the snow Saturday. If it does, hopefully it don't.
Hopefully it don't. Ooh, we haven't seen either of these teams take on snow in terrible conditions in recent memory. Okay, cloudy, snow showers developing after midnight, but there is a few flurries and snow showers possible through the day, but it's Buffalo, Shregs. You never know what it's going to be. It's going to be nasty probably on Saturday night. Maybe Lamar doesn't have the experience, but it doesn't mean he won't be really, really hard to tackle. There's a chance for snow, as we said, but it'll certainly be freezing either way. Who benefits more from frigid conditions? I brought this up, guys, Shregs, yesterday on the show.
Yeah, and Kay, I appreciate your Jim Cantor invitation.
You're welcome.
What's the
Jim?
Weather on the Nines.
Weather Channel. He's the best.
Cantor, the crazy guy. Sure, I like Dallas Reigns.
Dallas Reigns. That's L.A.?
Yeah, what a name for a weather guy.
A Lonnie Quinn guy.
That's not
Hello,
true.
shout out CBS New York. I would go with this. Lamar Jackson, in the way that the Ravens play football, is built for cold weather. What they do is they pummel you and pummel you and pummel you, so that by after the third quarter, you're like, you're really still running the ball up our gut. You're really still coming at our defensive tackles. I feel like their brand of football is built for the cold, in that by the fourth quarter, defenders don't want to tackle anymore. They're banged up, they're exhausted, they're freezing. And if you look at the Ravens' rushing attack, it's only getting better. Look at the numbers for what the Ravens have done since December. Look at that gap over the next best rushing team. 243 yards per game.
Yowza.
They ran all over the Titans. They ran all over the Bengals. They ran all over the Giants. They ran all over the Jaguars. And before you say, yeah, but the Bills defense. Jonathan Taylor had a day on Saturday against the Bills. He ran all over them too. I just feel like we go into such a mode of, wow, Buffalo, cold weather, fans, they're going to be screaming and jumping through tables. Baltimore's cold. Mm-hmm. The Ravens are done for this. And guess what? I go back to that run they had with Flacco, and I covered these games. I was at these games. I want to go into Denver, and I want to say, Flacco in frigid conditions, the Baltimore Ravens, how are they going to play up in the altitude? Oh, they found a way. Sorry, Raheem Moore. We had to show us every so often. Jacoby Jones, the biggest upset of that year. They go into Denver and beat Peyton Manning. And of course, the next week they go into New England, and I was covering this game. And the Patriots were obviously the big favorites in New England, in Foxborough. And Flacco and the Ravens came in, and they took care of business. Dennis Pitta, take us home. And the Ravens go to the Super Bowl in Denver, in New England. So, I don't know, Ravens, if you're telling me this is a Arizona Cardinals or even the Rams or Chargers and they practice outdoors in 80-degree weather all season, the Ravens, Baltimore's nasty. This is not some franchise that's scared of getting ugly and in the cold. I say the Ravens are going to be just fine. And this is an advantage, Ravens, actually, because Buffalo, they're a passing offense. The Ravens, they want to run it up the gut.
All right. Joe Flacco's from New Jersey, right? Ray Rice is from New Rochelle, New York. Yeah. Okay? This is a different deal. And I feel like we've done the show enough years now that every time we go around to January, we start looking at weather bugs. We start looking at where players are from. Peter, what if the Ravens get behind? You know, Marquise Brown, Hollywood, Florida. Okay? Lamar Jackson, Pompano Beach, Florida.
Been there.
It ain't Buffalo. Now, I'll tell you this. Peter, to your point, Project Pat Ricard. Played football at Maine.
Let's
Black
go.
Bears. He's from Spencer, Massachusetts. But I do think there's an acclamation. I don't think Baltimore is Buffalo. And Nate's already giggling because, Nate, I think you know where I'm going. Another thing we do every January is we turn to our resident ex-player with tales of gentlemen from the southern states. As a guy who played in Minnesota and Detroit, that first time that they are encountering the December and January crosswinds and cold, what is it like for those young men?
So I'm from Seattle. Played at University of Nevada, Reno. I've seen snow. I played in snow, right?
Yep.
I'm familiar with it. But then being drafted by Minnesota, you're in the locker room, and you hear it snowing outside, and usually you don't find out till after practice. And the guys from the South, they're blown away. Like, have you ever seen a grown man with his mind blown? This is a dude from the South walking outside like a little kid, like, oh, shawty, this is crazy, shawty. And they literally swinging their arms around like it's a scene from Frozen. Hey, Santa Claus is real, shawty. I'm like, yo.
So that could be potentially the Ravens like on the tarmac arriving in Buffalo, like looking up at the sky.
No doubt about it. And on top of that, they bones. They don't handle the cold the same way cats from Maine might. I just got to keep it a buck.
It's not freezing. It's going to be Baltimore it's 40 degrees in New York today. It'll be the same thing up in Buffalo. I will say that. So let's not, I just want to pretend like it's going to be a 7 degrees.
But when you get hit, it hits different.
Yeah,
I don't care how chilly it is. You start getting hit for 4 quarters, that 40 degrees feels like 15.
Starts at 8:15.
Oh, late game.
You said chilly. Fact or fiction, you had teammates who would use actual spices in their socks and clothes to keep them warm.
Spices, they would put nurses' gloves underneath their gloves. They would put Vaseline on. Yep, they would go into the locker room, drink hot chocolate soup. They'll do whatever it is. Every country remedy possible. Hey, my grandmama said if you put chili spices in your shoes, it'll get into your blood.
You got to do the cumin.
What?
Cumin.
Chili spices in your shoes will get into your blood bank. I'm straight. I don't want none of that mojo, man. I'm good with that old voodoo stuff.
So good.
But listen. It's going to be real. There's going to be certain guys that are going to be freezing. You can always tell who's freezing by the way they stand on the sideline. If they're over there shivering and they cannot leave that heater, that doesn't mean that their body is collapsing on them. That just means that their body is starting to get cold. And the longer the game goes, the harder it is to stay warm. Now, there's one guy that's going to be familiar with. That's Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been in it.
Talk about it.
From Wyoming. I mean, played in Wyoming. Like, he played from, 2015 to 17? I wanted to show some old footage. Check out those jerseys. And we actually played in Wyoming in college. Snow everywhere. Blizzard. Yes. Blizzard. Our bus got stuck, so we were late to the game, late leaving. It was one of the worst games ever. As soon as I got on the field, I wanted to leave. And this is a guy that's been in snow before. But,
Nate, I pulled it up. It's 21 degrees in Laramie, Wyoming.
And listen, and that is the average in the winter.
Look at that pass.
Hey, the average year-round is 40 degrees.
Okay.
Average year-round. So Josh Allen is going to be good. And the fact that he goes out there and he has no gloves on and he is just braving the conditions, everybody else follows.
I'll say this. We haven't seen either of these teams, I said, in snowstorms lately. We have seen messy conditions. Triggs, you've brought this up a couple of times, the Bills up against the Chiefs. They looked bad. They really did not look good. They struggled to get it going offensively in a sloppy condition, rainy game earlier this season. I thought about the Ravens. You brought them up, and it took me back to the last time I really saw them in bad weather. was last year against the Niners.
Yep.
So if we could show a little bit of that, that'd be great. They aren't the same team, but to your point, Strakes, this is the tape. This is what we have here. They were able to run it on, let's be honest, what was a really tough
Super Bowl defense.
Run defense, right? Lamar put up over 100 on the ground, and they beat San Francisco. Obviously, snow is a different animal, but if we don't get snow and it's just bad weather, at least recent history, Shrakes, has favored the Ravens.
Sure.
I'm watching it right here.
Okay, it's spot on. Their offense is built for this weather. Zach Moss is out for the rest of the postseason. Devin Singletary is not a big bodied back. I know they signed Devontae Freeman. I'm not sure if we see him.
How about that?
That was something. Josh Allen is the ultimate X factor. Nate's right, because this guy can play in any conditions. His arm is not affected. He's not going to be worried about the wind or the snow. But I think it's advantage Ravens and their style. They run the ball up the gut. It's hard to do that every single down when it's cold weather and deal with Patrick Ricard and Gus Edwards up your face.
When it was rainy and gross against the Chiefs, Singletary and Moss had 42 combined yards. Josh Allen threw it 122. Just saying. Ian Rappaport is joining us right now, our NFL Network insider. We're hearing about Urban Meyer to the Jags. We've been hearing about that and that rumor for a while now. What is the latest?
Well, the Jaguars have essentially completed their coaching search. Haven't interviewed a coach for several days since they talked to Arthur Smith, the Titans offensive coordinator, I believe, Sunday afternoon or Sunday night. And of course,